Okay, let's look at homework 3.6, 3.7, number 15, right? So we have this piecewise defined function, then we just need to find a bunch of things, right? So let's do that. All right, first we need to find x-intercepts. So x-intercepts, all right? So we're gonna set y equal to 0. Right, so first we have to try the top one. So try to see x squared plus 5 can be equal to 0, right? But you can see that the x squared is non-negative. You're adding 5 to it, so you can never get 0. So this is never 0, right? But we know that if you look at the second formula, 5 minus x, if you set that equal to 0, then you can just add x to it. So you have a 5 is equal to x, right? So we found x-intercept is 5. Make sure that it's greater than or equal to 0, right? So we found x-intercept. And a y-intercept, right? So we set x equal to 0. Right, so we just plug in x equals 0 into that function, right? 0 belongs to the second formula, so we're going to plug in 0 there. 5 minus 0 is 5, right? So y-intercept is 5 as well, right? Let's type it in. Right, x-intercept is 5, so it's a 5 comma 0. And the y-intercept is also 5, so it's 0 comma 5, right? So let's find the relative max and the relative min, right? So we need to look at the derivative, so we just need to do it piecewise. So you're going to have y prime is equal to, right? So if you take the derivative of the top guy, you get 2x, right? If you take the derivative of this guy, you have -1, right? So this is when x's top function is x is less than 0, right? Since this is a piecewise, we cannot include x equals 0 unless it's smooth, nice and smooth. And in this case, it's not the case. You have x is greater than 0, right? So you have this, and you want to set that equal to 0, and set that right equal to 0 to find a critical number. So you can see that the -1 is never 0, so we just need to get, maybe I should write it this way. So we set the 2x equal to 0, right? So this gives you x equals 0. And unfortunately, 0 is not included here, right? But if you look at the graph, this is a parabola, and this is a straight line with a negative slope. And at x equals 0, it's going to have 5. It's going to have 5 here. So it's continuous, but there's going to be like a sharp corner. So it's actually not from here, but since y prime is actually undefined, which makes x equals 0 a critical number, right? Then see what happens, right? So we're gonna do number line, right? So it's gonna be at 0, right? Then we look at the y prime, right? So when x is like less than 0, which is like -1, So we have to plug it into top one. So 2 times -1 is -2, so it's negative here. Right? When x is greater than 0, so I'll try 1, so here, but it's still -1, so it's negative. So this is going to be a neither local max or local min, right? So we do not have a local max or local min. So this is going to be a little, so it does not exist. And relative min is also does not exist, right? Point of inflection, right? So if you take another derivative, so y double prime is equal to, right, derivative of that is going to be 2 when x is greater than 0, and derivative of this is 0, right, when x is less than 0. So you can see that second derivative never changes sign, so there's no point of inflection, right? So there's another does not exist, right? Then horizontal asymptotes and vertical asymptotes, right? So this guy does not blow up or blow down to negative infinity, so there's no vertical asymptotes. And so vertical asymptotes, none. And the horizontal asymptotes, right, as x gets larger and larger, this is going to blow up, so it's there's no horizontal asymptote. As x approaches, actually I have to look at this, it blows down to negative infinity. And this guy, as x approaches negative infinity, it's going to approach positive infinity, so there's no horizontal asymptotes and or vertical asymptotes, right? So this is another does not exist. All right. All right. So graphing is actually easier to use the previous method we looked at. So the graph is going to be, all right. So when x is less than 0, we have basically a parabola with plus 5, so it's shifted up by 5. So you go up to 5, then you have a parabola. So it looks like this, right? Then from here, actually, I should have had open circle there, right? But luckily, for x is greater than or equal to 0, you have 5 minus x, so it's going to be as slope is -1, y-intercept is 5. So you're going to start from here, then you're going to have a line like that, right? So that's going to be the graph. Let's choose the correct one, right? So we have, let's see, yep, this is the one, and everybody else is very, very different. All right, so you have that guy. All right, so let's check the answer. All right, it came back, and looks like we got them all correctly. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.